Ciao, guys. Today we are reading an article on how listening is important in leadership. So this is a PDF from Humphrey Group, and let's see what it says. Listen, listen, listen. That is the title of it. If you wish to inspire through your ideas, begin by listening. Life makes little sense to those who don't listen, and that's particularly true for leaders, whose role it is to inspire others by shaping their convictions. After all, if leaders can determine whether what their audiences think, believe, and feel, they will struggle to shape the convictions of the individuals whom they wish to reach. That is why, if you wish to lead in conversations, you must be an exceptional listener. The importance of listening. As a manager seeking to lead, listening can provide you with several tremendous advantages. Listening allows you to form a picture of how people perceive your ideas. If you are given a list of the 10 most influential individuals in your business, and not necessarily the 10 most senior, could you identify whether they supported, opposed, or were simply unaware of the major projects where you will need their help? If you can do that, can you also explain why they take that position? Listening gives you access to this invaluable information. Listening gives you access to the reservations, objections, and doubts that others may have. The reason many people do not embrace or silently resist change is commonly grounded in fear of the unknown. Dispelling myths, disarming assumptions, and countering fears can only be done when you fully understand and appreciate such thoughts and emotions. Listening lays the groundwork for leading. For you to sway someone in their convictions, you must first begin with an awareness of and empathy for their perspective. From this understanding, you will be able to address the root cause of your audience's objections in the scripts you create and conversations you lead. Three levels of listening. Leaders know that effective listening is no passive act. Think about listening on three levels. So, there are three levels of listening according to this article. And first, listen physically by removing physical barriers and creating a strong connection. This is most basic level of listening and yet is often an overlooked tool for creating open two-way dialogues. You must be present to listen physically. That is why leadership by walking around is increasingly in vogue. Leaders are coming to recognize that they must connect with the individuals whom they wish to influence. So create conversations by being present in formal and informal interactions. Physical listening also involves showing with your body language that you wish to hear from others. Remove barriers like desks. Open your arms and create a strong connection with your eye contact. Take notes as others speak, nod or find others' ways to encourage others to continue talking. Keep a warm, interested impression on your face. And for goodness sake, stay off your Blackberry when you are listening. Second, listen mentally by committing to understanding the ideas of others. People with quick minds and big jobs often skip ahead mentally. This is unnerving to the speaker and counterproductive. So stay with the speaker and work hard to help them define their own ideas. Mental listening involves a desire to draw out the ideas of the other person. One way of doing this is to listen actively by probing and inquiring where necessary. Test your ideas and preconceptions against the new information being presented. Ask how the other person has reached her conclusions. The speaker will appreciate your involvement and the exchanges will be more productive. Draw upon the speaker's words, interlace observations the speaker has made with your own. In this way, you will be creating a tapestry of thinking that shows you have heard that your views are in harmony with the speaker's. Simple phrases like as you said or as I understand your view go a long way toward mental bonding. If something is not clear, help the other person out. Suggest ways of formulating the ideas or proposals that the individual may be struggling with. It's all too easy to dismiss others when their ideas are in the formative stages. Worse still, some find it easy to put others down. An executive once told me he enjoyed the smell of blood, referring to a situation when his staff members became confused. A leader is a good listener, and that means helping others think clearly. Yeah, try to help others articulate their ideas. because some people may not be able to articulate very well. So leaders should be able to help them articulate it. Okay, and the third part is listen emotionally to the stated or unstated feelings of your audience. Emotional listening involves reaching out to acknowledge and reinforce the feelings of the other person you're talking to. Communication, including listening, should not only inspire action but also build relationships. Indeed, the two go together. An empathetic leader listens carefully to the verbal and non-verbal responses of individuals. When you make a suggestion, be sensitive to the reaction of the person you are addressing. If their body language or words show they are put off by what you are saying, somehow you must address that problem. To listen emotionally, you can acknowledge the stated and unstated feelings of your audience. For example, you might say, "From what I'm hearing, you are pretty frustrated that you are getting pulled in several directions and in around this project. Look, I felt like that myself 5 years ago when we tried." Sometimes emotional listening involves asking people to open up to you about their deeper concerns and worries. If you find yourself caught in an unending intellectual battle over resources, you can try to shift the discussion by saying, "We have been going back and forth on who these people will report to. Is there a bigger elephant in the room here we aren't getting to?" In this way, you can show that you are committed to understanding the emotional reservations your audience has. When to listen during crucial conversations. The leader's script you were to earlier in the program provided you with a rigorous structure you can use to shape thinking in a crucial conversation. It also provides you with clarity about when to listen to your audience during that crucial conversation. Consider this diagram, which illustrates the four critical points during a conversation where listening enables you to lead. Okay, there is a diagram here. Listen. Okay, first listen, grabber, subject, message, then listen, body, then listen, then related message, then listen, call to action. Remember, crucial conversations are not speeches. They are two-way dialogues where you are seeking to inspire conviction. That is why it's critical to understand the perspective and objections of your audience and to tailor your approach accordingly. Let's examine how you can do this by listening in the four places you see in the above diagram. Okay, let's see. First, listen before you start trying to persuade, especially when someone else initiates the conversation. In conversations someone else initiates and in chance encounters, it is critical to listen upfront to identify what opportunity you have. You need to gauge many things, including what your audience is thinking and feeling, and whether the timing is right to turn the discussion into a leadership conversation. In conversations where you initiate the discussion, you will likely have a good sense of the opportunity in front of you. In such interactions, you can listen upfront to gauge the mood or perspective of your audience. In such instances, you can usually move fairly quickly to your grabber because you are ready to shape the conversation with your subject and message. Second, listen closely after you deliver your message. This is one of the most critical moments in a crucial conversation. You have just conveyed a statement that should both reflect your convictions and challenge the audience's existing views. How will they respond? If your message is truly engaging, it should provoke a reaction or questions rather than jumping to your proof points. Allow time for your audience to digest what they have heard and draw conclusions about how they feel. Pause, listen, and even probe if necessary to understand how they react. You can then tailor your proof points to respond to their views. Third, listen after each key point you make in support of your message. The information you get after you deliver your message will allow you to bring forward the right supporting arguments. After you deliver each argument, listen to the audience's reaction and reservations. Check for agreement or at least understanding before you move on to the next point. Don't move on to your restated message until you feel you have brought forward the points that address outstanding concerns. Finally, listen after your restated message. The restated message is when you test whether or not you have moved your audience and inspired them to embrace your convictions. To determine the extent to which you have done so, listen to their reactions to the message. Are they ready for your call to action, or do they need more persuading? Only your audience can tell you, and you must listen to them to determine the answer. Okay, yeah, so listen after each stage of those. That is what the ad section says. And then we have how to listen effectively during conflict. It is important to listen effectively in any interaction, but it becomes critical during conversations where you are feeling criticized or attacked. In such situations, you can listen mentally and emotionally by practicing what is called active listening. The diagram below illustrates the active listening techniques you can use to respond to aggressive, hostile, or difficult statements during crucial conversations. In using these techniques, you can lower the tension level and create common ground, all while avoiding the use of the word but. Disarm, empathize, support, probe, persuade. That is the part of support. The disarm. This first important technique allows you to show that you have listened to your audience and found something where there is common ground. Examples of successful disarm include: "You're right, that's true. I agree." The key with a successful disarm is to make it genuine and to find common ground even if 95% of what you are hearing enrages you. Using a disarming technique will keep your mind actively listening for common ground. Okay. Here is an example of successful disarming responses. You people say you are interested in my ideas, but I have never heard you ask for my opinion or implement any of suggestions. So why don't you save us all the time and cancel the meeting? You're right, leadership does say we want your ideas. Disarm may sound simple, but it is challenging to find common ground rather than instinctively reacting with defensiveness. Empathy. After you disarm, you can just immediately apply the second active listening technique, empathy. There are two types of empathy that you can use: thought or feeling empathy. Thought empathy is where you show that you understand what the person is thinking and you can appreciate why they think that way. Feeling empathy is that where you show that you understand the feelings of the person you are speaking with and that you appreciate why they feel as they do. Okay. Support. After you disarm and empathize, you can support, praise your audience. This is a way to show respect and further diffuse tensions. You can acknowledge the past successes, wisdom, and capability, knowledge, or any other qualities you genuinely respect in the individual you are speaking with. Probe or persuade. After you have built common ground through disarming, empathizing, and praising, you have a choice to make. Either you can probe further or you can persuade. You should probe when you need to listen more to your audience to understand their motives, concerns, and perspective. You can do this by asking for clarification or more information. Turn it back to them with a genuine question. Example includes: "Tell me more about your concerns around this. What would it take to get you on side? Do you have any other concerns?" You should persuade when you feel you have clarity about your audience's perspective. You can move directly to your key message or to a main point. I firmly believe in this initiative. This will deliver value to your customers. Your commitment is crucial. Summary: success in leadership stems as much from your ability to listen as it does from your ability to speak. So remember, listen physically, mentally, and emotionally. Yeah, so this article was about on listening, and I totally agree. Listening is an important part of communication because communication is not a one-way street, it's a two-way street. Communication, you talk, you listen. The other person listens and then talks. So you have to understand the other person's perspective and concerns and try to, like they said, disarm, empathize, and support it by probing it or persuading your point of view. Yeah, so this is what the article was. Hope you guys liked it. Please subscribe to the channel. Thanks a lot. Bye.